Chapter 626, Amyrius's Decision. Looking at the lights emanating out from the villa in the darkness, Klein spent several seconds mentally preparing himself before alighting the carriage. He followed the three-layered staircase and came to the door, where the Admiral's bodyguards and servants were lined up at the sides, before stepping in. Seeing Cynthia wearing conservative home clothes due to the existence of others, Klein silently heaved a sigh of relief as he maintained his stoic expression and slowly walked over. Cynthia's smile became more and more brilliant as she shifted the strands of her hair to the back of her ear, revealing her fair and slender neck. Her neckline didn't have any marks left behind by a necklace. Seeing Secretary Lewin and the Admiral's bodyguards head for their own rooms or moving outside the building to take up their patrolling positions, Klein pulled Cynthia into an embrace and said in a deep voice, "There's no need to prepare any hot water. Give me a quiet room. I need to spend the night alone." Cynthia used her eyes to express her puzzlement and blankness. Klein surveyed his surroundings and softly said, "Something unexpected happened. I need to enter an extremely quiet state to recover." As he spoke, he raised his right hand to pull at his collar, revealing a patch of faint-colored fleshy granules. His problematic physical condition, with an abnormal reaction, was an excuse Admiral Amyrius had prepared for the tramp stand-in, so as to avoid Cynthia's attempts of intimacy without exposing a problem. To make it more convincing, Klein used his faceless powers to provide evidence. Cynthia turned agape as she nearly screamed. Thankfully, she covered her mouth in time and held it in. The moment Cynthia recovered from her shock, she immediately asked nervously, her concern and emotions evident, "Are you fine? Do you need to see a doctor?" "No, this is the price needed for powerful strength. I'll recover given 2 to 3 days of solitude." Klein had already found the excuse needed for the future. "Okay." Cynthia hurriedly helped Klein up to the second floor and led him into the quietest room. As for the master bedroom, she had already lit some scented candles and scattered some faint-smelling extract, so she didn't offer him some. Seeing the door close, Klein slowly exhaled. He changed out of his admiral's uniform and lied down in satisfaction. Not far away in the master bedroom, the worried and disappointed Cynthia was soaking herself in hot water before sleeping. She looked at the ceiling with an unfocused gaze, as she couldn't help but recall the exhortations of her parents from a few days ago. They wanted her to charm Admiral Amyrius and hopefully be impregnated with his child. This way, their family would be able to take on more businesses with the Central Sanya Sea's naval fleet. Admiral seems to have many matters hidden in his heart, so much that something abnormal has happened to his body. Cynthia's thoughts wandered as they slowly dispersed. Without her realizing it, she had fallen asleep. During this period, she found her digestive system turning warm as her body felt a little hot. In her dream, she seemed to see a pitch-black sky which was dotted with resplendent stars. One of them seemed to notice her gaze as it produced a brighter glow. The next morning, the invigorated Klein enjoyed a sumptuous breakfast, which was nothing spectacular to speak of. Once again, he was surrounded by the Admiral's bodyguards as he arrived at the Oravi Naval Base and was placed in the most luxurious and spacious office. According to Admiral Amyrius's habits, he would spend some alone time every 2 or 3 days to study and master his beyonder powers to a deeper extent and produce more effective techniques. Therefore, Klein spent most of the day without being disturbed, with him only needing to handle some simple work. Inside the quiet and spacious office, Klein leisurely paced about or flipped through books from the bookshelf. From time to time, he would put his palm into his pockets to touch the 9th law charm to release some of its powerful might. This was to make Secretary Lewin, who was outside, believe that there was nothing wrong with Admiral Amyrius. After some time, Klein felt sleepy and decided to take a short nap. At this moment, he heard knocking at the door. "There's something important." Klein frowned. Something that made Secretary Lewin disturb Admiral Amyrius's focused training was definitely nothing simple. "Come in," Klein converged his emotions and answered with a deep voice. The handsome blonde man, Lewin, turned the handle and entered. He held a telegram in his hand. He said with a suppressed voice, "Your Excellency, a telegram from Backland." Mr. Aston has been relieved of his post as Governor General. He will temporarily be replaced by the City Council's chairman. It's said that the new Governor General will arrive today. Aston Revolt has been relieved of his post as Governor General. Has their secret been discovered? That's right. The Twilight Hermit Order has already warned me, no, Amyrius. It means that they had long grasped the actual matter. With another member cranking the wheel, the matter will likely go through a series of position changes, putting an end to the matter. A warning was given the previous night, and action was taken today. They must have prepared for quite a while. Yes, that can be seen from the fact that the new Governor General will arrive today. Klein was first alarmed, before he felt that the matter was within reason. He mimicked the attitude Admiral Amyrius would have when faced with a major problem by pacing back and forth before saying with a stern expression, "I'm aware." Klein didn't express his views or pass any orders, appearing extremely staid. However, it was because he hadn't decided on a response. We have a saying from the Foodaholic Empire, moving is not as good as staying put. I wonder if Roselle had translated this. Klein lampooned as he gave a self-deprecating jest. Lewin raised his head and glanced at Admiral Amyrius without saying a word before silently leaving the office. Phew. Klein paced about once again as he considered what Admiral Amyrius would do if he were standing here. This was something important that had happened outside of his expectations. Therefore, Klein could only infer from Amyrius's character, experiences, as well as some of the personal descriptions in the information provided to him. He's a conservative person. Even while he was a mid- and low-sequence Beyonder and was on all kinds of different ships, he very rarely took risks. He believes himself to be a lone aristocrat who values family, children, and emotions. He's a gentleman who's of good bearing and garners the affection of women. This point is open to debate. With his standing and status, even a curly-haired baboon would garner the affection of men and women, no, perhaps even more. At the very least, a curly-haired baboon doesn't tell dated jokes. Information ran through Klein's mind as they intertwined to form a multifaceted image of Admiral Amyrius. While in his deep thought, he heard knocking at his door once again. "Come in," Klein instantly tensed up. Lewin entered and pointed outside. "Your Excellency, Mr. Aston wishes to meet you." Why is Aston here? He came to Amyrius to seek his protection, or does he plan on making a desperate struggle? Klein narrowed his eyes slightly, realizing that he couldn't make a decision for Admiral Amyrius. What would he do? After receiving a warning from the Twilight Hermit Order, he should already realize that the matter has been exposed. The target was long prepared, so with his conservative nature, it can be imagined that his decision would be. However, he greatly values family. He even provided some of Aston Revelt's interesting tidbits. It's not hard to tell that there's the concern and love for his younger brother in this matter. He doesn't like cannabis and tobacco. Drinking is just for socializing purposes. Apart from being a little caught up with beautiful women, there's nothing seriously wrong with him. He greatly values family. Klein's thoughts raced as he fully immersed himself in Amyrius's identity, fully experiencing his hidden feelings for his family and the importance he placed on it. Family. At that instant, he seemed to turn into Amyrius, but he was able to analyze the various problems in a detached manner. After nearly 20 seconds of silence, Klein heard himself using a somewhat unfamiliar tone, saying, "Tell him that I have many matters to deal with. I don't have the time to meet him. Also, buy him a ticket back to Backland." Lewin seemed to have expected it as he retracted his gaze and replied, as though everything was normal, "Yes, Your Excellency." As he watched Lewin leave the office to find Aston Revolt outside, Klein gently sighed like the real Amyrius Revolt. He knew that Amyrius would have made the same choice if he had returned early. This was family, something he valued greatly. With their scheme completely exposed, there was no way Amyrius would have exhausted his last chip on a bet and place his family at risk of destruction. As long as he didn't participate in it, and as long as he's still a demigod, the Revolt family wouldn't suffer any overly serious damage even if he isn't able to remain as the highest commander of Central Sanya Sea. and to get his secretary to buy his tickets for him made it clear that Amyrius still treated Aston as his brother. It was a warning to others not to harm him before they figured out what was happening. After nearly a minute, Lewin returned and said, "Your Excellency, Mr. Aston has left. Amyrius greatly values family." Klein fell silent for 2 seconds before asking in a deep voice, his back facing his secretary, "Did he say anything?" Lewin answered truthfully, "He said that you are indeed a cold person by nature." The corners of Klein's lips curled slightly as he produced an unfeeling smile. This was an instinctive reaction. However, with him completely in character as Amyrius, he believed that the admiral would have had the same reaction. The feeling and emotions were the same. For the rest of the time, Klein sat in his office and didn't meet anyone, nor did he deal with any official business. All he did was occasionally listen to his secretary report to him about the situation on Oravi Island. Nothing happened until the arrival of the new governor-general. In the evening, he didn't attend the banquet he was supposed to attend, and he returned to his villa. As he saw Cynthia walk towards him, he hugged her. Then he calmly said, "Aston has been relieved of his post as governor-general." All his sighs and pain seemed to be condensed into that seemingly emotionless sentence. "I heard about it. It should be fine, right?" Cynthia asked anxiously. Klein closed his eyes and didn't mention it again. All he did was give soft, terse reply. That sentence was the most obvious expression of his emotions as a stern, old-fashioned, and conservative high-ranking man.